Good evening, everyone. Engineer Pat 5290 coming to you with July's Q&A responses. I do apologize if this is late getting out. Just got really tied up with work and a few other things. I'm finally able to find some time to get that out. Before we get into the questions, I would like to thank all of you for tuning in to last night's Model Railroad Mondays. Very well attended and lots of good questions. So tune into that if you have not seen the full video. We do have some questions in here from a lot of good users. We're going to kick it off with Trayman3985. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, man. EMD or GE has to be EMD. Alco, Lima, or Baldwin? Baldwin and Alco because I'm the most familiar with them. What Canadian railroads, Class 1, fallen flag, or short line do you like? There's one name on my list of Canadian railroads that I really love is CN, and I'll explain why. Because I'm familiar with some of the railroads that they've purchased from the American side, and they have retained actual heritage units like Illinois Central SD70s still in IC paint as they were delivered from EMD. The last GTW SD40-2 is in GTW colors. The last Wisconsin Central unit that is on the CN roster, it's a GB40-2, that is still in Wisconsin Central paint, as well as many other railroads like the Bessemer and Lake Erie, the EJ&E, things like that, and BC Rail, all preserved. What inspired you to become a YouTuber? From one of my good friends, the Coleman Place, my good friend Mark, who passed away in 2021. He inspired me to become a YouTuber in 2015. It was March 1st, 2015 is when I got started with this journey, and it has been nothing but a good one. And he and my good friend Joey, Class J Video Productions, helped me get started, as well as Standard Gauge Railroader, who helped me much, much later. And the experience has been wonderful. And that's a really good question. Subway or KFC? Gotta go with Subway. McDonald's, BK, Wendy's, or Arby's? Wendy's and Arby's for the win. What state do you rail fan the most, and what state do you want to rail fan in the future? I have rail fanned Virginia, North Carolina. I have done a little bit of Maryland. I've also done Pennsylvania. Um, I've mostly rail fanned up and down the East Coast for Virginia and North Carolina in particular. I've done a little bit of West Virginia, but I would really, really like to go maybe Kentucky, or even I have rail fanned in Tennessee, but it has been over 10 years. I would love to go to Kentucky and look around there, and I also love to rail fan. Um, um, what's the name of it? I would really love to rail fan Alabama. Really love to rail fan Alabama. Um, Favorite fallen flag from the east, west, north, and south. Southern Railway, ATSF. Um, from the north, I've got to go New York Central. Um, and I also like the Norfolk and Western as well. Uh, so they're my few favorite fallen flags, and everybody liked Conrail as well. Uh, Favorite Class 2 railroad, like a regional railroad, um, Florida East Coast and Alaska Railroad. I like both of them. What locomotive do you find as a failure? That's a really tough question there. The SD90 Mac H failed as well. That's an EMD locomotive that did fail. And also the C41-8Ws. That's a locomotive that is not talked about anymore. The ATSF and the Union Pacific had them, and ATSF C41s did not last long. I think they were just mechanical nightmares. Um, Southern Pacific Santa Fe merger, which was a failed merger, or Penn Central, which one stays? Um, I like Penn Central just because I'm familiar with them. SPSF was a failed merger. Now UP 3985 5511, 6936, and the Effies are coming back to the main line. Really happy to hear it. How many locomotives and rolling stocks do you have for your model train collection, and does it change from time to time? Dude, I have got to count that. I really don't even know. Um, what got you into trains, and what was the first train you remember? Like real life TV show, train ride, or watching trains? This is a really good question. Uh, my O scale layout that I've done many live streams of, that was my inspiration to get into trains. There Goes a Train with engineer Dave, that was made by Kid Vision in the mid 90s. I Love Toy Trains, produced by TM Books and Video under the direction of Mr. Tom McComas as well as Mr. Joe Stousher. And plus going to museums and watching the big trains as a kid and really enjoying the hobby. Um, Southern Pacific or Norfolk Southern, I like both. Southern Pacific because they were bought by Union Pacific the year I was born, and Norfolk Southern because it's on the East Coast. And I just love them because they have the reputation of the old Southern. KCS or CSX, KCS because of the Southern Bell paint scheme. Dash 8 Standard Cab or the SD90 Mac H Phase 1. I have to go with the Dash 8 Standard Cab because I've seen a lot of those. SD40-2 or the AC 4400, SD40-2 for the win. Aside from trains and trucks, what other hobbies do you partake in? Another really good question. I love building things out of wood and also taking things apart and fixing them. Working in the shop and trying to find things that need to be fixed and fix them up. And uh, I love doing that. Spending time with friends. And one of the other things that I was really into as a kid is putting puzzles together. And I'm trying to get back into putting puzzles together, which I did a bunch of that when I was a kid. Um, Thoughts on the American Western Maryland restoring the 734 to run with 1309? That's going to be a good project. I was glad to see them restore 1309, and that I believe was the last Baldwin that was saved. And really glad to see that engine was restored. It was early this month, but happy 4th of July. Thank you very much. What is your favorite preserved/extinct steam locomotive? I have three favorite steam locomotives. Norfolk and Western's big three. The 611, 1218, and 2156. Now for the West Coast, Southern Pacific 4449. I've always loved that engine as well as the UP 844. If you could bring back an extinct locomotive, steam, diesel, or electric, what would you choose? Well, I would love to see the J class come back from the Norfolk and Western days. For diesels, I would love to see the F3s come back as well as the E8s. For electric, I would not mind seeing the GG1 come back. If you could, what would you call the CPS KCS route other than any name they choose? I really don't know. Um, I'm just curious on if that plays out. Um, Pennsylvania's S1, S2 steam turbine, or the T1. All of those are really pretty locomotives, and they were all. I think all of them were built at Altoona shops, and uh, Altoona has been. It holds a place in my heart just because it's where a lot of the rebuilds have taken place. And let me tell you something: the older shops on the railroad can really, really talk about some stories from the past. So, thank you very much for this nice list of questions. I really do appreciate it. And please continue to ask more questions for August. Trainman 1993 comes in with a couple. Great to see you, Matt. Citco or Shell gas stations. I just like Shell because not only because of the logo, I just love seeing the Shell. I love seeing Shell stations. Period. Model Railroad magazine or classic toy trains. Model Railroad magazine because I've read a bunch of those. And I like the fact where they actually tell you about reviews of a locomotive that's been released by a manufacturer and even scenery tips as well. So thank you for your questions. Transcontinental Rail fan comes in with a question. Thank you for coming back and good to see you, man. Have you heard the 200th anniversary of the first road in the world event held in UK 3 years from now in 2025? That seems to be pretty cool. Um, Got some more questions in. First up, we have the next of is NNW Class A1218. Like the name, man. Great to see you on here. Favorite fallen flag railroad of all time. My top two favorites, the Southern and the Santa Fe. My next ones, the Norfolk and Western, Conrail, and Southern Pacific. Peterbilt or Kenworth, I love both of them. Favorite car model, 1972 Chevy Chevelle with 327 small block. Favorite condiments to put on a hamburger? Well, a little bit of mayonnaise, horseradish mustard. I've also put pimento cheese on there, um, and not to mention a little bit of relish. Favorite animals? This is a good one. I like a dog. I've always liked looking at a deer, and also like a blue heron as well, and also love a mallard, my favorite duck. So thank you, sir, for your questions. Um, Couple of more questions coming from the model train room. Good to see you, man. Any dream bass models? If you're referring to the brass models, no. Have you ever caught a Dash 8M? No, I have not. Um, Following UP90, great to see you, man. Do you know the ballast size of the Easy Track at N-Scale is larger ballast than their HO track? Yes, because I own some, and it is really, really beautiful. Uh, Stephen KC comes in with the last set of questions here. Um, Thoughts on the TTS on the track for Cure rolling stocks? Really pretty. Do you find it interesting that Bowser announced NS Horsehead scheme for their 100-ton hoppers? Glad to see they did it. Thoughts on 5704 going to Southern California Railroad Museum? Glad to see she'll be preserved. Favorite types of steaks? Ooh, I love a ribeye steak and a New York strip. Ever traveled on Amtrak? Several times. Soo Line or the IC? I love both of them because of their EMDs. Thoughts on the FURX in their green and silver scheme on the 40-2s? I have seen one, and it was actually a Penske built 40 straight 40. It was upgraded to a Dash 2. Least favorite wild animals? I really don't have a least favorite. They're all unique in different ways. Now, the SD45-2 or the SD60, I love both of them. You like Garfield comics? I read a bunch as a kid. Love them. Hot dogs or chicken tenders? Man, put both of them on the same plate. Love them. Thoughts on Cosmic Brownies? The Little Debbie ones. Oh, I love those. One of my friends used to call them seismic brownies. Don't ask me why, but have them with a cold glass of milk. Like watching football or baseball better? I like both sports because they have different aspects, and I actually enjoy watching baseball as it takes me time when I was a kid when I used to play. Ever been to Folkestone, Georgia? No, I haven't, but that's a pretty good place to watch trains. Favorite thing about steam era tank cars? Just their overall appearance, and even to see the tankers improve over time. So it definitely shows you a different time in the rail industry. Which Tom and Jerry episode do you like better between these two? Fit to be Tied or Nitwitty Kitty? I like both of them. All the old ones are good. I like all the old ones. Favorite UP turbine locomotive? I'm not 100% sure. I gotta go back and look at those. Um, Thoughts on the Love Travel stops? Those are really nice. Those are really nice. Subway or Good Sense? I've never heard of Good Sense, but I love Subway, especially for their turkey and cheese sub that's not toasted with lettuce, tomato, dill pickles, olive vinegar, and black olives, and the chocolate chip cookies. And thoughts on cheesesteak sandwiches? Man, they will melt in your mouth, and I love them. So, well, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this Q&A for July. Sorry the responses were late, but really good questions, guys. Keep them coming. I love this. So, just remember, guys, smash the like button, drop a comment down below, hit that subscribe button, and tap the bell for all the notifications, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you, guys. May God bless, and I look forward to seeing you down the main line.